things you remember for your first couple days on the Supernatural set?
It was awesome. It was also it was very hard. They work super, super hard on that show. And it moves very fast. A lot of shows, they kind of hold your hand, and you do like a table read, and you kind of get to know people, and then people don't really know their lines, so you do a lot of takes and things like that. But this, in order to get everything that they get done, they just are super professional. So it moved so quickly. So that was my first experience. Also, I was doing stunts right away, so I was working with Lou, who's awesome. I don't know if you guys know, but he's been doing the stunts on that show, I think, since the beginning. He's an amazing guy. And I got to kick Jared in the balls, which was great. I took him down, and considering how tall he is, that was the only way that it was going to look like I could beat him up. So I took him down, and then I got to feel really badass. Yeah. So I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I can remember. But mostly I just remember how nice everyone was. They were just really went out of their way to be good, nice people, and they're very humble, and yeah, it's awesome. Is there anything you remember about that first episode that you wanted to ask about?
I guess I remember like the one-liners.
Yeah,
I love the one-liners.
It was that's what always spoke to me about Meg. Probably why I got cast is I just loved the way she talked. She was so dark. Like she said the things that we all wish we could say. We go back later and be like, oh, I wish I was that smart. Yeah. No, she's just always on it. I loved Not So Easy Without Those Super Special Demon Powers, Sammy. That was like my favorite line to say ever. Yeah, loved it. Thanks.
I was also wondering, what was your first day on set like?
First day on set?
Yeah.
My first day on set was a little bit intimidating. First of all, she asked what my first day working. And I had a cold, and my voice, I was talking like this. And fortunately, I didn't have many lines that day. But I was so scared that they were going to have me talk a lot on camera, and I was going to be like this. And they'd be like, you're fired. But, so I didn't have to talk that much. But Jared and Jensen were there, and they were talking about wrestling, like WWF, like World Federation Wrestling, right? Like cage fighting. That's what they're talking about, cage fighting. And, they're big guys.
Yeah.
And I was like trying to be cool with them, like trying to be friends with them, and just sort of hanging out near them. And Jared's like, we're talking about cage fighting, cage fighting? And I was like, yeah. I tried to pretend that I knew anything about cage fighting, but I was so afraid that they'd cage fight me. I was like, yes. And then I was like, please don't ask me anything more, that's all I know. I just know what it is. So, yeah, it was intimidating. But then, they're the coolest. They're such cool guys, so it got easier after that.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
What was it like on the first episode? Like what?
That you were in.
Ever?
Yeah.
Or on Supernatural?
On Supernatural.
What was it like?
Yeah.
They were so polite to me. They were really nice. Jared was sweating a lot. There was a fireplace behind him. It was like, you don't want to have him standing in front of him. He was like dripping. And I had so much dialogue to say. Like my first day was kissing a guy under the crossroads.
They could not find a day player in Canada that would kiss another man. I was really disappointed.
In Canada?
I'm really disappointed. Really, really disappointed. And they couldn't find a guy to do it, right? And they found this amazing guy, L. Harvey Gold, very tall, 6'2". The trouble was, if I talked to him and I was nice to him, he got really friendly and the acting went out the window. And if I didn't talk to him, he got really nervous about the idea of kissing a man under a crossroads bridge. And the joke, of course, the worst thing that happened was, of course, I said, pucker up, buttercup, just before I kissed him. Which kind of threw him for a loop.
I can see
And then he started fighting me. He was having terrible trouble doing stuff. And then he got really nervous. So, I mean, kissing him was like kissing a piece of paper. It was like the most boring thing in the world.
Right.
But grabbing the back of his clammy, wet head as he's pulling away, I was like, ah! I was like, oh my God. So I called my wife and I was like, oh my God, that's disgusting. She goes, now you understand dating.
Hey, I just wanted to ask, what were some of your most memorable moments on set?
It was my first episode ever, 721, reading is fundamental. My first week was a very different experience. I met Jared first, and it was the scene where I'm running away from Sam, and I won. I'm a really good runner, and I beat Jared in a foot race. So that was pretty cool. But Jared was about to have his first child, and so there was a different energy. He was very nice and in the opposite of a prankster mood, and so that's what I thought the whole experience was going to be. But it was just very surreal, you know. It was like a very kind of a hush thing. We'd just do our job, and then at the very last shot that he did, he gets his call, and he's like, oh, my wife's pregnant. My wife's in labor, and my wife is pregnant. Yeah, all right. And then he, you know, and like very respectful, he's like, hey, is it okay if you like shoot out the rest without me? I'm like yes, go to your baby. And he just like runs off, and that was like the first time I ever met the guy. And then Monday he was a dad. You know, it was such a surreal experience. And then, you know, I was back to normal. It was the craziest set. And, yeah, it was hard to stay professional after that.
Hi, what's your name? Where are you from? What do you want? I've got to try and be a little bit Rowena as well, I forget.
I'm Bailey, and I'm from Wanaka, down south. Come up here.
Cool.
My question is, do you have any stories from the first day that you filmed with the cast?
Yeah, thank you for your question. Thank you, darling. So, first day on set, luckily they flew me up. It was Jens who was directing it, and the episode was Sole Survivor, and I had no lines, thank God. All I had to do was, I can't say F it up, can I? I can say F it up, but I can't say the full bomb. Hang on. Kim Rhodes would, just so you know, FYI, Kim would have dropped the F-bomb by now 10 times. You know that. So, all I had to do was, I didn't even have to take a drink. All I had to do was this, hold on. All I had to do was this. Right. And do you know how easy it is to stuff that up? I was so nervous. And it was a really quiet set. Serge, who does the cinematography, is a very quiet French Canadian. Very, very respectful because Jensen's directing the episode. Everyone's going about doing their thing. And it's early in the season, so people are still switched on. It's not episode 23 when they're deranged. And I had kind of been, you get hair and makeup done in the works. I love that they call it the works. Like you go in like this, and you come out like this. Because they work on you. And I'd been in the works and brought to set, and I remember Jensen standing leaning against the wall, and he was like, another redhead. And I was like, well, what a feisty bunch. I didn't say that, that's what I said in my head, and I wasn't witty enough to say it out loud. In hindsight, my fantasy life, that's what I said, and it was really funny. We were instant friends. Anyway, no, it was honestly everything I could do to do that. And somebody, Moira, who's the person who looks after your costume and who makes sure your necklace is on straight and all that kind of stuff on set, she doesn't know this, but I heard her walking away going, she's really tiny. Small, the best things come in small packages.
She seems perfectly sized to me.
Very petite. No, I don't mind being small. Mark makes a big thing about it. Mark goes on and on and on and on and on. If he was here, he would just be singing songs about midgets and things. That's what he does. Short, all that, never ending. And I'm like, well, you know, he's been the smallest for so long. He's just happy there's somebody smaller than he is. Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Okay, let's talk about how I first got on the show. So when I did this must have been almost 4 years ago. I was pregnant and had not worked in film television. My background is in theater and improv. And I got pregnant and was like, oh, I need to make some real money. So I started auditioning for film television and then swiftly got pregnant. It's like film television got me pregnant, really. And also tequila. So I auditioned for this role, Sheriff Donna, which at that time was a very small role. It was about 5 scenes in an episode. It wasn't a guest star role. The role was for a woman who was, you know, overweight. So it didn't matter that I was pregnant. I wasn't really showing that much at that time. But I didn't tell anybody I was pregnant because you can't get insured. Don't tell anybody this, okay? They won't insure you if you're pregnant because you're just too dangerous. You're dangerous if you're a pregnant lady. So, awesome. So I didn't tell anybody. And I remember going on set, and I was just trying to work. I just wanted a job. I just wanted to make money for my thing that was going to come out of me. And I went on set, and all I was doing was trying not to fuck up because the easy part for me about film television is the acting. But that's kind of not the important part when you're doing film TV. The important part is like the camera, the lighting, the sound. And so I have these marks to hit. I'm sure you guys have heard this term, hitting your marks. And I kept missing my mark, and I was so nervous. I was so worked up about this. And so Jensen walks on, and I was just like, hey. It's so funny, he tells me about the first time he met me. He's like, I saw you, and I was like, she has no idea who I am. Not as in like I'm Jensen Ackles, but just like that he's an actor on the show. I was just like, that guy's pretty. And then Jared came in, and I had the same reaction, but it was up here. Hey. Yeah, so it's funny, and then we did the first scene that we did together was the donut scene, which was awesome because it was such a icebreaker. And Jensen always talks about, he's like, oh man, you kept it straight. Like he worked so hard to make me crack, because this is what they do. And he's like, you kept a straight face for so long, it was bugging the hell out of him. And it made me look like I was like, yeah, I'm such a serious actor, an amazing comedian, but really I was just like, don't fuck up. Do not fuck up. That's all that was going through my head. And I had a lot of lines, a lot of stuff to get out. And yeah, we did the donut scene, and I remember they gave us these powdered donuts, and I was pregnant. And I made some joke. I was, again, being new to film TV. I made some joke. They're like, there's a spit bucket here, you can spit your donut into the spit bucket. And I went, I'm pregnant. Give me that fucking donut. I didn't know that I was going to have to eat 17 donuts. So I did use a spit bucket, as did Jensen, and our favorite joke is that every time we finished the take, Jensen would let me spit first. Romance. Am I right? Yeah? I want everybody to go home and ask their significant other to do that, okay? Honey, you never let me spit first. Oh, this is starting to sound dirty. Okay. Don't clap for this. You're never inviting Rihanna back again. I'm in Transylvania now. Okay, that's enough out of me. How about from you, sir?
Hi.
Hi, my name's Madeline.
Hi, Madeline.
I just want to say you're a huge inspiration to me. You really are.
Thank you very much.
My question for you today is, how did your first day working on the set go?
Not well. Hi. How are you? I'm so glad you're here. This has been going terrible. Only there's babies everywhere.
So, first day on the set of Supernatural.
Yeah.
How did it go for you? The question is, how
Richard and
was
I had very similar experiences, which was basically realizing we were working with giants. And we just felt so dwarfed. And it really...
They couldn't frame a shot.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't fit in the same frame with those people.
They couldn't find enough apple boxes.
I remember previously, like when I guest starred on Charmed, I remember Alyssa Milano. I was standing next to her, and the director kept on having to tell me, just try to lift your chin up, because I was talking to her like this, because she was this tiny little homunculus underneath me. And then coming to work on Supernatural, in film and television, everybody is tiny.
That's exactly what I said.
They're like baby cats. Like, everybody is tiny. And then you get on the set of Supernatural, and it's like, what is going on? And actually, early on when I was started working on it, Jared, who plays Sam.
Okay. The tall one.
He was blocking the door, and I was like going to go out, but he was sort of blocking the doorway, and that was a little bit in the scene. And I walk up to him, and my face just goes like right into his chest, and I kept on just laughing because it was like, you're ridiculously large. You're a giant, and it's a freak of nature.
Right. Yeah.
You should be in the circus.
He should be traveling from town to town and charging people 2 bits a gander.
Exactly.
Yeah. We have a scene in Kings of Con where I'm standing next to him, and Rich and I were editing this thing, and I'm looking up at him. And you'd think I was looking at a skyscraper. I'm literally like this, right next to him.
Well, Rob's up against him, and it's like literally Rob, you lose Rob in his armpit. Your head just slides right in there. It's just,
can I tell you another thing that's really frustrating to me? So on Supernatural, the boys wear boots, and they wear boots. And I think that maybe what happened, this is pure speculation, but I think that at some point Jensen was like, all right, this is ridiculous. That guy's really tall. Jensen's a tall individual. He's like 6'2" or something like that. 6'1", I don't know. But he got boots with some substantial heels on them. So it's like, they're like good, like hardy work boots with big heel on them. And so that, maybe he wouldn't look quite so small, diminutive. And then, in retaliation, I think that Jared went to the wardrobe department and was like, give me some fucking monster boots, people. So he's got monster heels. And then they're like, and Castiel, here are your slippers. So, it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I actually noticed that because when I go on set now, and I'll see Jensen in the morning or whatever, and he's like, hey, what are we doing? What's the plan? I'll tell him the plan. Then he goes out as Dean, and he's significantly taller than he was at breakfast. And I'm like, all right, shit, what the fuck?
I was laughing because when you told that story just now, I could see something ring true for you. Rich was like, huh.
That's it. It's when you know you got through to him. You got a little,
yeah. That registered.
That's not full of crap, like usual.
Yeah, first day on the set for me was it was the very last episode of directing for Kim Manners, who was the producer and director of the show for the first 3.5 years. And he, after I did my first take, which I'd never watched the show before. I had no idea what was going on, and I thought it was really weird. And I knew I was some supernatural angel something, and so we did the first take, and Kim had this look on his face like, what the fuck have we done? And he came over to me and he put his arm around me and he said, let's do it again, try not. This is my favorite direction. Try not to be so spooky. Anyway, needless to say, that engendered in me a tremendous feeling of confidence on that first day.
You're like, well, day one, results, I'm tiny and I suck. What are my takeaways? Misha, how have the good people of San Francisco been treating you? They were so scared when they thought you were missing.
They're still scared.
Now they know you're here. Was it great? Was it everything you dreamed it would be? Ladies and gentlemen, Misha Collins.